Thank you very much. When I was outside, I realized that there are probably two types of people here. The first that really know us very well, and probably you have even had a project with us. And the second type is that those people who haven't heard about us at all. So I'm here to change that. So I don't know if maybe you don't know what the Visegrad Fund is, but I'm kind of certain that you have heard about the Visegrad Cooperation or Visegrad 4. This is, sorry, can I get the, yeah, thanks. The Visegrad Cooperation basically started as a political project in 1991 by the four governments, Poland, Czechia, Slovakia, and Hungary. The goal was basically to help each other on the way to European integration and not to hinder each other. But in the first 10 years, it kind of turned out that this is really like concentrating on the elite and like really political decisions, and it didn't really affect civil society or the citizens. So the governments had this idea that why don't we establish a fund which gives governmental funds to non-governmental participants for projects that are of non-commercial nature. So this is when the Visegrad Fund was created in 2000 as a donor organization, as a catalyst to foster cooperation between the four countries and the civil society of the four countries mainly. The basic idea is that all projects that we have, and since the beginning, they have to be of a regional added value. So that means they are all international, and they need to have partners from at least 3 countries, but preferably all 4. So this is how it started, but then basically the governments have realized that focusing only on the Visegrad region is not enough, because as the EU also started to come up with the neighborhood policy and the Eastern Partnership, we also realized that we need to include those countries as well. So you can also see here that we are targeting 2 other regions apart from the Visegrad ones. The first is the Eastern Partnership region, where Ukraine is the one of the biggest participants, and the second one is the countries of the Western Balkans that want to join the EU. So what do we have to offer for you? First of all, we have grant programs. For you, probably out of the 3 schemes, 2 will be important. The first is the Visegrad Plus grant, which was technically created specifically for Eastern Partnership and Western Balkan applicants. So you will most probably, if some of you will apply, then you will definitely get to know the rules for that program. And also we have strategy grants, but I don't really want to talk about that much because it's much more strict and it has some specific criteria. I would really suggest everyone to try the Visegrad Plus first of all. Before I introduce the program, I also want to highlight that we have scholarship opportunities. So if you are a master's student or you already finished and you want to have a research, then you can apply and you go to any public university or research institute in the region. We can support 1 semester, 2 semesters, but maximum 4 semesters. So it's possible to have a whole master's degree financed and also 2 semesters of PhD or some post-doctoral research. Here you can see basically the financing. In the first 10, well, let's say it's like 70 years, this is how the money, the grant was distributed among the countries. You can see that the Eastern Partnership had only like 12% of the whole grant, but this is actually growing as we speak because especially in 2018, the number of applicants from the region is rising, and the biggest beneficiary is always Ukraine. As you can see here on the chart, actually the scholars that we support in the framework of our scholarship program, also Ukrainian participants are the highest number. So we have scholars from all EAP countries, but definitely it's Ukrainians who have the biggest interest. Okay, so let's hear about the Visegrad Plus grants. So the basic criterion is to have at least 3 partners from the Visegrad region. That means that, for example, if you are a Ukrainian applicant, then you must have one organization from Poland, Czechia, or Slovakia, or any combination of 3 from the 4 countries. This is really important because all the projects needs to have somehow a regional added value or a regional transfer of knowledge. So this is the basic thing that you should keep in mind. We can finance up to 100% of all the project costs. So you don't need to have co-financing. Of course, we are happy if we see that you have found other donors, but it's not necessary. How does it work? Basically, if a project is supported, then we write a contract with you, and then you will get the first tranche or the first installment of the grant right after returning us the contract. And then if the grant is high enough, then we will disperse them in 3 tranches, meaning that you will receive the second one after the interim report has been submitted, and then the last one after the project is finished, and then we receive the final reports and everything else. It's also crucial that we have a no cash policy, because this was decided a few years ago in order to foster transparency, because we had some problems with no cash bill with the cash bills. So everything must be conducted via bank transfer. Basically, we don't require the invoices and bills as such if your project doesn't reach 10,000 euros. If it does, what you need is only an audit report, an independent audit report, and then you don't have to send us anything. We try to be as paper-free as possible, so what you need to submit us at the end is just the final report and the financial settlement together with the audit report, and that's it. Also, if you're applying, you should keep in mind that you can have only one project at one time as an applicant, but you can be a partner in any number of projects. So it's up to you. If maybe some of you have already had the experience. The application is done online. Everything is online. You don't need to send us anything in paper form. We have 3 deadlines: 1st of February, 1st of June, and 1st of October. This is the online system opens 30 days before each deadline, and you can basically you have enough time to work on your proposal. Since we are here and talking about the cultural funds, I think you will see that the first category that we have is culture and common identity. We have, these are the main focus areas that we have for all projects, not only Visegrad Plus, but for Visegrad ones. And within the culture category, we usually, there are some objectives that your project somehow has to connect with. We don't want to tell you what your project should be about, but it's also important for us to see that you somehow, this project that you're proposing, it will somehow connect to our objectives. So what am I talking about? It's mainly increased awareness of cultural diversity, or some kind of a regional cooperation, regional transfer of know-how from the Visegrad region to Ukraine, or the other way around. But we also have very, very different types of projects from Ukraine as well, including trainings for journalists, capacity building, democracy, education, also university courses. And for example, we have projects targeting agriculture as such. So it's really up to you what kind of projects you have in mind. The point is that you should check out these focus areas on the website, and you will find all the necessary information. Big question, who can apply? You have to be a legal entity to apply, so it cannot be a natural person. So mainly we are targeting NGOs, but it doesn't mean that these are the only target groups. So universities, public institutes, museums, all these entities can apply. Even enterprises, so companies can apply, but it's I must highlight that if it's a company, then the project has to be of non-commercial nature. So it mustn't generate profit. This is not the point of the project. Embassies, for example, the state institutes or state agencies cannot apply. So if you get the budget from the Ukrainian state, then you are probably not eligible, except if you are like a municipality or university or any kind of public institute. We have basically we try to cover all the categories that you might need for a project. So if you are if you are thinking about like a conference or a book or an event, then most probably you will find everything that you need under these categories. I would really highlight the last one, the overheads, because this is the category that cannot be higher than 50% of the grant, but this is basically for you to pay your bills, to keep up your office, and to pay your employees, your project manager. But this is really important, that it cannot be more than 50% of the whole grant. Here you can see the timeline of how it goes. So there is for example, let's take the next deadline. It's 1st of October. So the system will open approximately 1 month before that. So that's 1st of September. And then when we have the deadline, we will have 60 working days to evaluate the project. Then the Council of Ambassadors of the 4 countries will decide about the final list of the approved projects. We will let you know if your project is approved and also if it's not approved. And then the project implementation can start like basically 1 month after that. So please keep in mind that if you apply, for example, for the October deadline, your project cannot really start before October, November, December, January, kind of the end of January. This is important. Yeah, since we are here, just some of the problems that we usually have, or our applicants usually have. It's really, really important for you to read the contract before you start the project, because we sometimes have the issues that the applicant didn't understand how the tranches are paid out, what are the requirements, what costs can be covered and what cannot be covered. Especially the deadlines are really crucial in that case. But with an active communication with your project manager that will be assigned to your project, I think these problems can be avoided completely. So there are like 7 of us working as project managers at the fund, and each of us have a number of projects, and you can contact us directly if something is not clear. Basically, this is what I wanted to tell, but I think I will leave some space for questions. If you already have a project idea, you can have a consultation with us, either via Skype or personally or via telephone. Consultations are possible before the online system opens, before each deadline. So that means if you want to apply for October, then you need to consult us before the 1st of September. But of course, this applies for all deadlines. So if you have a long-term project, you can come to us at any time and you can just tell us when you want to implement the project. We will be happy to take your questions. Me personally, you can find me on the website. My name is Danیل Pетر. And then you can just call me, write me an email, or I will still be outside for the rest of the day. So please approach me, and I'm ready for the questions. Thank you.
Давайте подякуємо. Адресу можете записати ось внизу контактну. Також Даніелу можна задати буде питання в перерві. Хочу підкреслити, що це перший спікер, який дотримався регламенту виступу. Дякую. Давайте перейдемо до питань.
I have a question about long-term projects. I mean, if I have a long-term project, I have to do it with 4 partners, or it can be divided on some steps, or how it can be implemented?
It depends. If you are applying for the Visegrad Plus, then there is a maximum implementation period of 18 months. So that's like 1.5 years. If you're applying for strategic grants, but again, it needs to be somehow connected to the strategic priorities that the Visegrad presidency is updating every year. That can be minimum 12 months and maximum 36 months. But if in case you have like a really, really long-term project idea, then you should write it in a way that it's clear that the first phase that you want us to support, it's only really the first phase of something longer, and then we will see if it's really, if you manage to convince us that your project has a long-term impact, then I believe that it's possible to have the whole project in like 2 or 3 parts supported. Yeah, the partners. Well, as I said, it's there is a minimum of 3 partners from the V4. You can have as many as you want if you have the minimum criterion. Of course, we are happy if there is some organization from all the 4 countries plus Ukraine as well. But if you inspire for something more, you can even include other participants from the Eastern Partnership countries as well.
І ще таке питання, Пітера. Ми знаємо, громадський сектор українського народу знає про мету Вишеградської четвірки, він знає про фонд Вишеградський. Чи найближчим часом ви хочете провести таку дискусію минуле, сучасне і майбутнє, до чого прагнемо в рамках цієї стратегічної програми? Дякую.
So Ukrainian organizations normally know a lot about the Visegrad Fund and about the aims of the Visegrad Force. So are you planning to make any kind of event of the discussion to discuss the past, the present and the future of this program?
Yeah, that's a good question. We just celebrated our 18th birthday recently, and one of the, I think, lessons learned was that we really need to somehow make our presence more visible also in Ukraine and in the whole region. So I would be really happy to come to more events like that and to present our options and even to have like normal discussions with not only in 20 minutes or like this short time span, but I will definitely suggest this also to my colleagues. Hopefully we will have more of this, but if you will have anything specific, that you can just approach me at any time. And just I wanted to add something, but I will wait.
No, if you want, because I have a next question.
No, just go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, hello, my name is Yana. I would like to ask you more about partners. I mean that I don't clearly understand what kind of partners should we have. Shouldn't it be a financial support, or is this just in a kind of, I don't know how to say, just a program for that includes these countries?
Mm-hmm. This is a really good question, and I'm glad you asked, because very often we have the situation when, even though the partners are there officially on paper, but they don't really contribute to the project. So our aim, and this is also, when we are checking the project, we read your proposal, the first thing we look at is the partners. What kind of partners do you have? What do they do? Do they have an online presence? Can we check their activities? And it's really, really, really important that during the project, they should also cooperate. So it's not only, about giving money or giving space or just delegating one person for a conference. We really want you to have like a true knowledge of transfer between the partners. It's even better if the partners don't have the same expertise. So, for example, you find a partner from Hungary that has one specific knowledge, then someone from the Czech Republic who has the equipment for that. So you should combine what you have, and this is what we want to see. So something where each of you will learn something, but also share the results outside of your own bubble, let's say. So you will also include target groups in your project that previously hasn't been included.
Okay, thank you.
One more question, please. Can you, maybe you have, your project have the special database, something like that, of potential partners?
Yeah, I actually had this question before. If you go to our website and you go to the archive section, you will find all the previously supported projects, including the name of the applicant and the partners as well. So you will see what is the topic of the project, what is the category. So if you're looking for specifically cultural projects, you will see what kind of organizations you can work with. Currently, we don't really have like a database of partners as such, but I think if you look at the successful projects that we have, and also we have this project map on our website, you can easily check which projects are about to have some events. So if you are interested in one of the partners, for example, you can contact us directly, and we can make the connection, or you can just contact them directly. So it's up to you. But it's a nice idea. We were thinking about having some kind of a database, but it's a big work, so we will think about it. But for now, I think it will still help you to what we have at the website.
And the last question, please.
Hello, my name is Olga. I would like to ask you about your application form. I have applied months ago, and I have some questions. There were some questions I couldn't answer at that time. For example, I had to fill in the names of experts that will be in the project, but for now, in the project, they will be taken in a context. So what should I do if I can't fill in some places in form?
Yeah, we often encounter that situation, but we don't expect you to know everything about the project at that point. So we know that a lot of things can change, and if you're not sure who you want to invite, then that's okay. What we want to know, or we want to see, is that you are aware of what kind of expertise you need. So if you have checked the application form, you see that we don't only want to see the name of the person, but also the justification. So why are you inviting that person? So in your case, it's for that period, it's enough if you just write you don't know yet the name of the person, but please give the criteria based on which you are going to choose the person, and then we will see that you really think it seriously and you're not just giving us some information that we cannot use.